Hello, I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick from the AJS House 2001-2002.
And I'm Ryan McCann, also from 2001 and 2002.
We're here to kick off the storytelling and begin our video campaign to try and get some funny stories from different people, different volunteers from Ecuador. So, Ryan, I seem to recall a story that the Gomez family from AGS likes to tell over and over again. Something about Ryan Secayo. Could you explain a little more about that?
Yeah, I was really close with the Gomez family, and I had a bunch of them in class, and there was always a bit of good-humored fun between me and them, and the kids always like to tease me, and they found their ultimate moment to tease me for years. I think it might have been during Carnival, and we were horsing around, and at some point somebody might have thrown a little bit of water, and I needed to exact my revenge. So I headed over to the volunteer house and grabbed like a cup or a bucket of water, and I snuck back over to the Gomez house, and it was my perfect opportunity. The whole Gomez family was laying out in the front. I think Rosa was in the hammock. I mean, just ready for it. And so I'm sneaking along that concrete wall where the fence was, and I'm getting ready to throw the door open. And they knew I was coming because they had put a bucket of water up on the door above it. And so sure enough, I'm ready to run at them, go through the door. I push the door open. The bucket of water comes down, falls on top of me, completely soaks me, soaks the floor. I step and slip. My water goes up in the air, comes down on me, and I look up and all I see is the entire Gomez family laughing at me, and the kids start chanting, "Ryan Secayo, Ryan Secayo," and all I can hear in my head is little Jesus going, "Ryan Secayo, Ryan."
He's about 4 years old at this time.
So, and so to this day, even when I'm emailing and stuff with them, they'll say, Ryan El Que Secayo, and I sign off with El Que Secayo. So to this day, they've got me.
Email signature now.
Yes.
For them. All right, nice. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And you've been itching a lot tonight. You got I seem to remember you had an issue with lice, didn't you, down in Ecuador?
I had an issue with lots of internal diseases when I was in Ecuador. None too serious, and I didn't actually have lice myself, but I did have an issue with lice. The kids at Valdivia actually had an issue with lice, and Richard and Vanessa worked there. And I remember having a conversation with the whole community, our community of volunteers, about whether or not it was appropriate to have kids in our house in general, the kids from Valdivia, whether or not we should show them where we live, and we had more resources obviously than what they have in their home. And a very clear, solid, unanimous decision to not have them in the house.
I remember that.
Yeah, and about 24 hours later, I came home from work. I worked at Nuevo Mundo, and I came home from work usually at 6:30, and unpredictably came home at about 4:30 that day because some of my classes were canceled. And I walk up the stairs into my house and into our house, and there's Vanessa standing over a sink with shampoo and a kid's hair over the kitchen sink.
We love you, Vanessa.
Shampooing kids' hair. There's a line of other kids who have lice who are waiting to have their hair shampooed in our kitchen sink, and Vanessa and I just sort of looked at each other in the eyes, and a lot was communicated through that one look. And so about 2 hours later, I didn't say anything. I just went to my room, and about 2 hours later, we after the full cleaning of all the kids' hair, we had another discussion, which was very similar to the discussion we had had the previous night, only with a little more some new new evidence, new stories, anyway,
New anecdotes,
new
perhaps.
anecdotes. Yeah.
Was it Vanessa's night to cook?
I don't know if it was Vanessa's night to cook. I hope it was Ricardo's night to cook because he usually recruited someone from the neighborhood to do the cooking for him.
There was usually a young female who was more than happy to cook for the house, or we got eggs and rice.
Yeah.
So we either got fed really, really well or
really, really poorly. But hopefully that night the food was not cooked in that kitchen. Anyway, one other story about Ricardo. We wanted to tell this story too because it's one that's relevant to our good friend Miguel Angel, who passed away recently in an accident. But his legacy lives on. I remember we used to, John and I, John Arias, who was another housemate, and John and I in particular used to go out a lot at night. Not a lot, but once every weekend or whatever.
Not
and Ricardo was always saying he was going to come. And he ran around all day, all over the neighborhood. No one would know where he would be. Just, he'd be visiting different households. The guy was the mayor of Duran, basically. And so we knew he'd be too tired at the end of the night. So he's all on board game, telling the group Shalom that he was in because we were going out with them. And then, of course, he'd bail at the end of the night. And I remember that time, Miguel Angel was over at the house, and he goes up to Ricardo and just goes, You are false. Because he did not speak much English. And he was trying to say the right, say that he's a flake, basically.
Yeah. Since then,
we refer to Ricardo as false, and we refer to one another as
Yeah.
always false
Don't be
whenever
false.
someone
Why are you false?
bails on plans or something like that. But those are our stories. We look forward to hearing your funny stories.
Don't be
what
false.
happened in Ecuador. Yes, don't be false. Thank you.